ICP's price may be in trouble. We're going to be taking a look at the technical analysis today on the short, medium, and long-term views, sharing where I think the price action potentially is heading next. This could be a huge opportunity to dollar cost average and build out those positions, but if you're a hodler with a significant position already, this might be a little bit painful. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe, and let's take a look at what's going on with the internet protocol. So let's take a look. Right here we have Internet Computer Protocol basically on the 1-day chart. We've seen a significant pull to the downside since we had that high on the 22nd of July. This total move was a 42.96%. We had a little bit of a relief rally, but it wasn't really anything too significant. And this particular structure is a little bit concerning. You can see here that we have this resistance on a downward trend line. Okay, this is really pushing that price down quite deep. And so we're looking at this in unfortunately a bit of a negative way. Now, this is only going to be negative on this smaller time frames. If I can take this down into a 1-hour time frame, you can really see here why this is not the best position for ICP. But it is not a concern across the larger kind of medium to macro and longer term views. It is literally an issue with the smallest time frames. So our stochastic RSIs are showing us with momentum that is shifting up towards the overbought range. If we turn this off, bring on the divergence indicator here, you can also see how the relative strength index is also showing some weakness in here, specifically as we start thinking about this particular area where we've seen rejection before. So although there's potential for a bit of a lift to the upside, unfortunately it's looking more and more likely that we're going to find more resistance and another push to the downside. There's a lot of volatility in the crypto market at the moment, lots of kind of how I was trying to articulate it as liquidity grabbing, essentially liquidity being extracted from order blocks and buy and sell orders, all that kind of stuff. And we are seeing, unfortunately, a bit of a rinse repeat scenario. So we have pushes up, pushes down, and so forth. There was a big pull to the downside here yesterday, or actually Thursday. And this pull to the downside left a couple of fair value gaps that were pretty much instantly filled. And you can see how we're just dancing around the 50 EMA and the 50 SMA on the 1-hour time frame. Our 200 EMA is in line with our downward trend line on this 1-hour time frame as well. So it doesn't look strong on this smallest time frame. Now, if I bring smart money concepts in, you can also see equilibrium is our resistance as well. We can see that things here are still in bearish structures. That hasn't changed. And for the most part, we have weak lows and strong highs. We have discounted ranges and premium ranges, lots of red up here for selling, not so much in the way of buying. So it just doesn't look strong. It just gives me the kind of idea that ICP is looking for a bit more of a tumble to the downside. So let's bring this back to our daily time frame, right? So that means that we're likely to see another push back down and retest of the $6.24 to $6.65 range on our daily time frame. Now, with all that being said, we have a strong low. Let's say a strong low. We have a low at $5.81. Okay, that is coming down with what we saw on the 5th of July. Now, we want this to hold because we have a nice 5-wave pattern to the upside. Anything lower than 581.1 is basically going to invalidate this structure, and it's going to change everything that is going on when it comes to ICP's price action. We'll have to reassess absolutely everything that we know about ICP should that happen. Okay, but for now, this particular pattern shows us actually with a bit of a push to the downside, a retest of this area between 624 to 655 or 665, sorry. And actually, what we've got here is a bullish pattern, not a bearish one on the daily time frame. So although we're expecting volatility on the smaller time frames to the downside, we're actually going to be looking for a break to the upside, where we're looking to test out the 50 SMA and the 50 EMA on the daily time frame. Okay, this is going to be a bigger 3-wave structure. So although I'm expecting a move to the downside where I'm going to put this down at, say, that's 645, it's going to give us the idea that we have this run somewhere in that range between 1 and 1.236, which pulls us right up here next to those 50 EMAs and 50 SMAs. That essentially will be $8.11 to $8.56 approximately. So you can kind of see here that what I'm looking for is this push to the upside. This is our continuation pattern, although is falling to the downside in this ascending wedge, and then we are or descending wedge, and then we are looking for this next kind of break to the upside towards that $8.11 to $8.50 approximately. That's going to fall in line with the 50 EMA, the 50 SMA that we see here on the daily time frame. Now, in an ideal world, we want to break much higher than this. We want to be targeting out that 200 EMA and getting a close position above it. We'll be keeping an eye as to whether that is something that happens. We are looking for a 5-wave move to the upside at some point in the future. So maybe this is the start of it. But until we kind of see that, it's hard to know exactly what is likely to happen. So lots of resistances for ICP. Expect more pressure to the downside for ICP on the smaller time frames, probably over the next week or so. After that, we'll obviously be continuously reassessing the situation as to kind of where the ICP price action could be heading. So what else is going on? Well, if we roll this up into a weekly time frame, things are not as bad as they might seem on the smaller time frames. As you can see, a great run to the upside from September 2023 lows. Okay, so although we have seen a lot of volatility, we haven't seen these kind of levels of $2.82, and I don't think we're likely to go down all that further and retest that. Now, it's possible, of course, that everything that's going on here from that big move from from March down to where we were in July, this particular structural move could be a part of a much bigger play. It's a 72.31%. And it could be that what we're looking for here is a big collapse with a big kind of 3-wave move to the upside, only to come down and retest those existing lows. We want to be mindful that that is a potential structure that is still incredibly bullish, but in line with the bigger macroeconomic climate that we find ourselves in. So should we see, that area getting lost, the 5th of July wick lows, then we are going to be in that situation where we're going to be looking at that area around $6.52 for great accumulation. So potentially some major problems for investors who have been holding on to ICP for a while and maybe they're not looking to kind of, dollar cost average and build out their positions. They're potentially going to see some pain here, but it's a huge opportunity if you're looking to buy and looking to dollar cost average and build out those positions should we lose these lows. And where we are right now is kind of hedging against that. We'll still see some volatility. We'll see some bouncing around. Nothing moves in straight lines. So there's going to be some opportunities to swing in and out of the market, but also give you opportunities to get out of positions if you do happen to get stuck in them at some point in the future. But for the most part, ICP's future does look incredibly bright in terms of where I think things could be going. At the moment, we've already hit the expectations that I had with this area of previous support come resistance. This was the 0.618 to the 786 and is $19.56 to $27.49.6. We already hit this high on the 25th of March 2024. The main area of focus, though, is between $42 and $67, as this particular area between 1 and 1.236 on the fib scale is showing an interesting area of previous resistance. Anything above $67 is going to be great, and we are going to be looking for 90 to 144 to be triggering bigger impulsive breaks to the upside. I think there's a lot of potential here for ICP, but there's also a lot of things we have to be concerned with. So we'll keep an eye on the market. We'll continue to put the updates out on the channel, and we'll continue to let everyone know where I think things are heading. Now, that's my thoughts on ICP. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below, or join us in our free Discord server. We'd love to hear from you. And guys, if you have found today's video useful, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, hit the notification bell so you never miss another update. And if you haven't done so yet, check out my second channel where I go through the technical analysis on Cardano. You can click it right here.